And as we spoke of earlier, we spoke of the economy, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the great changes that are happening right now with the way that we expose our senses. And this is one of the big key factors for me. Actually, it was probably one of the first things that I did when I had my awakening, and I started really living this particular lifestyle, for lack of a better term, living in the new paradigm, is being very conscious of what I'm exposing my senses to. And that includes everything from television to what we look at on the internet, our resources for news, our resources for entertainment, whether it be musical, whether it be all of it, all the media, and that does include the internet as well. And one of the things that I'm seeing right now, and during the shift right now, during this wonderful year of 2012, this wonderful energy that's moving through all of us, we're starting to see a lot of people capitalizing on this, and that's something that we need to be aware of, that we don't really want to lend our energy to. And the reason why I say this is that we are at a point now, and we truly are at a point where we are going to align ourselves with love or fear. And I know that's a cliche. I've been saying it for 30 years. However, it's here. It's here. What you're starting to see now, you're starting to see a lot of the, especially within the consciousness movement or the New Age or the alternative media and whatnot. I won't even get into mainstream media because it's all fear. That just goes without saying. The way they present the news, all their television shows, everything is about fear of and low self-esteem and creating low self-esteem. You have to be pretty, you have to buy this, you have to look like this, you have to eat this. I'm talking about once you've unplugged, and most of you have unplugged, as I call it, unplugged from the matrix. But or you wouldn't be listening to this show. And if you are in the process of unplugging, more power to you, absolutely. But my main concern that I've been having is I'm starting to see that the people that we once looked up to for resources, people, I'm not going to say any names, but let's say people that have been around the alternative world for years now, that have been a torch of clarity for all of us, are now starting, I don't know if they're getting desperate or if they're just realizing how much they can capitalize, or if they just aren't going to make it, for lack of a better term. Are they going to cross over to the new paradigm? Some of them have fallen into a perpetuation of fear, of alarmism. And I'm, to be blunt, and I don't like to use the term, the conspiracy world. I see that a lot of the conspiracy folks, and this is a positive thing, I'm seeing that a lot of the conspiracy folks are no longer publishing speculation. It's like, okay, no more speculating. We need to, if we want to deal with conspiracy facts now, we are at the point now where if we are really going to expose the truth, quote unquote, if we are really going to bring all these outrageous behaviors from the elite or the criminal, the criminal governing forces, if we are going to do it, we must have documented material. We cannot speculate any longer. So all these things, I mean, I've seen outrageous things. People, one of them recently posted about how the pole shift is happening next week. We have, and then, okay, here's a good one, though. Here's a positive one, is Alex Jones. Alex Jones went from going to martial law is coming to your town next week. I've got the documents. It'll be in your house. They're coming in your house. And he's calmed down. He's really calmed down quite a bit. Don't get me wrong. He still has his craziness, but we all have our own personality, and that's okay. However, I don't see him like putting timelines like, by the end of November we will have military presence on our street. It used to be like that. And even he is realizing, and again, that's a really good example of someone who's finally aligning with truth. I mean, truth, love, clarity, not fear, not alarmism. So, and I know a lot of our audience participates and really subscribes to a lot of the, the conspiracy theories. I do too, of course. But what I'm doing is I've really chiseled away those that, put up exclamation points. That's a big red flag right there. You put up an exclamation point and you post in all caps, you're trying to get a rise out of me. If your media is trying to get a rise out of you, and this is a great way to put it, and just to simplify this particular section of media and the new paradigm, is if the media that you are exposing your senses to is affecting your central nervous system in a bad way. In a bad way. If it's making you nervous, if it's creating fear, you don't need it. That right there should be a key awareness of your intuition and of your alignment away from love. If something starts creating fear in you, if some leader out there, whether it be alternative media or consciousness media or conspiracy media, and they're trying to make you nervous, why do you want to listen to them? That's the reality of it. And, again, I was very guilty of it 5 years ago. Back then, I called it guerrilla marketing. I was like, I got to get their attention. Well, now I have their attention. And it's not anything that I want to be a part of anymore. You'll notice we rarely will ever post any titles in caps or put out an alert. That's my favorite. Alert! 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 Like, someone, and I'm not going to mention any names, but someone posted something about, there's troops moving into Seattle yesterday. I'm like, I looked everywhere on the internet. I didn't find anything. So it's like, we can't do this anymore. We must stop and think about how is the media affecting our central nervous system. Do you want your central nervous system to be all tight and nervous all the time? Do you want to be grinding your teeth all the time and having nightmares about tanks rolling down your street or asteroids crashing into your house? I mean, it's one thing to be informed. Don't get me wrong. We posted, Anela posted about the earthquake in Peru. But she didn't say, oh my God, it's the end of the world, 2012, Peru had an earthquake. No, it was just like, here's the article, Peru had an earthquake. It's about being... and send calming thoughts and healing thoughts and prayers to the people that were affected. Being aware is one thing, and there's nothing wrong with being aware. We want to be informed. We have to be informed. We are a global community. We are a one-planet species at this point that we know of, as far as what we see with our eyes. So, if we are a global family, of course I want to be aware of what's happening in Palestine. Of course I want to be aware of what's happening in Peru or what's happening in Japan. We want to be aware of it, but again, it's how it's being presented to you, and are you becoming a fear addict? Do you want to be a fear addict, or do you want to be an informed and aware and an educated person who is centered in love? So that's basically the new paradigm. The new paradigm, again, you're going to start seeing the conspiracy people are going to get more conspiratorial, more alert, more fear. I'm seeing it now. I'm sure you are. And those of us who are kind of aligning with love, you're going to see our information won't change much, but the presentation of it will be, just calm down. This is what's happening. Just calm down. Just be informed. And we really need to start supporting the ones that are leaning toward love, and really start ignoring the alarmists, start ignoring the fear mongers, and stop ignoring your own fear addiction if that's what you're into. You don't want that. That's not going to be a part of the new paradigm. Let me make something very clear about this whole shift that we're talking about here. And we talk about the split as well. With the split, you're already seeing it. You're already seeing people that are just miserable, victims, unhappy. They never have enough. They're always sick. They're always in fear. They're always anxious. All these things. And that's not to say that's not a part of the symptom. And we're going to get into symptoms in a minute. But you're going to see that they're the ones that have they're clinging to the old paradigm. I spoke with a store merchant yesterday who was talking about, those people work, we were talking about the elites. And she wanted to know what Occupy was all about. And I said, well, the reality of it is that Occupy understands that our governments around the world have been hijacked by corporations, and corporations running government is called fascism. And so we all want us to get our governments back. And the first thing this woman said to me, and you can tell this is repeated from programming. I knew immediately. I'm like, you watch Fox News and you watch it all day long, because she just literally. I mean, she could have been quoting Glenn Beck for all I know, but she was like, well, those people worked hard to get where they are. They have the right to have power, and anybody can work hard and get up there. Oh, really? Have you worked hard your whole life? Because you're not there. So, I mean, that was a good example of someone who's just clingy. They don't understand that that paradigm is gone. It's over. It's over. We talk about, and this is great because it's going to move me into the next segment of what I want to talk about as far as the new paradigm, is that if you are clinging to where you were 10 years ago or what your family taught you as you were growing up, and it doesn't matter whether you're 20 or 50 or 100, that everything that you have learned up until maybe 5-10 years ago is moot. It's over. Capitalism as we know it, it's not going to work. We know that. This whole idea of nationalism, gone. A great example, if you want to understand what I mean and what this new paradigm is listen to the words in John Lennon's Imagine. Because now we're no longer imagining it, we're living it. We are living it. No borders, no nationalities, one people cooperating with each other in love. So that we must get over this idea that, oh, I'm a Virginian from America, or I'm a Brit from Abbotsbury, No, we are human beings. We're family. We're Earthlings. That's what we are. We're Earthlings. Yeah, we are Earthlings, and we must understand that those that are clinging to this are the ones that are going to have the hard time. I know I make a lot of reference to Abraham Hicks because I think she's one of the most amazing teachers. And she deserves the success that she has. She's one of the few, I will say, deserves the success that they have because she's very, very sincere. But one of the things that she talks about is clinging to the bottom of the stream. Why are you going to cling to the bottom of the stream? If you cling to the bottom of the stream, the waves are going to beat you up. You're going to get hit by rocks and debris, and all of these things are going to keep flowing over you. You're still holding on, trying to hold on. Instead, just let go. Let go. Move with the flow. It's very Taoist. It's very meditative, and it's called aligning with your higher self. And we're going to talk about that at the end of this series. But yeah, yes, absolutely. But basically, I think it's pretty fair to say that anything you see on mainstream media is a lie. So if they tell you like. The Chinese are taking over or whatever. No, it's not the Chinese. It's the corporations that are owned by the Chinese or that we have bought those Chinese workers. That's who's taking over. It's not the country. It's the corporations. So all of these things that mainstream media, like, oh, immigrants, we got to seal the borders, what right do I have to seal the borders? By all means, if you feel that you can. I feel that I should be allowed to go to Mexico. I would love to go to Mexico. Why can't they come here? I have no problem with that. I don't understand this whole false idea of nationalism because it's a lie. It's a lie. So that's one of the things that we need to really be aware of in the sense of changing the paradigm. Get rid of the boundaries. Get rid of the borders. We are one planet. When you look at the Earth from the sky or an alien comes down, they don't see lines cut out and drawn around the map. They see a lot of water and a bunch of green little areas of Earth, scattered about. Again, speaking about the new paradigm, is politics. Of course, I had to touch on that. I'm kind of trying to stick with the 3D, 4D stuff as we move into the more spiritual aspects. But let me get the politics stuff out of the way. Is again. That paradigm, that left-right paradigm, it's rigged. And we really need to start moving into creating our own communities, creating our own, and many of us have, and I see it a lot with Occupy. You see a lot of them, they're creating their own government. You have the General Assemblies, you have working groups that work on specific topics and efforts, whether it be community efforts and whatnot. Here in Roanoke, we have a group that works with restoring homes and helping people with foreclosure. So, I mean, this is called taking everything in your own hands and not relying on the government. We can't rely on them to tell us the truth, first of all. And the whole idea of conservative and liberal, no, it's human. It's human. And I believe in some of the things that conservatives believe in, and I'm sure conservatives believe in some of the things me as a liberal would believe in. But, we have to blur that line, get over it. This whole idea of all or nothing. And I'm glad I'm moving into this direction, because the all or nothing mentality, even in politics or in relationships with your friends, with your family, with your community, with your neighbors, with any organization you're working with, we can't have that all or nothing anymore. Everything is very blurry. Everything is very unstable right now. Nobody's really sure where they're standing. Nobody's really sure what they're standing. So we have to have a little bit more compassion on that aspect, and not really allow ourselves to say, oh, well, that guy believes in abortion, I hate him. Or that guy doesn't believe in abortion, I hate him. No, well, they might do some other things that are just absolutely amazing, and so they have an opinion. That's an opinion. Is he running to the, it's different if it's a crazy man going to the abortion clinic and shooting a doctor, or someone tying your legs together. But, I mean, so he has a rotten opinion, big deal. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. And, yeah, I mean, he just has a different way of looking at things, and this really doesn't go in this talk. This is very political, but I heard a quote yesterday that was perfect. It said, nobody really is pro-abortion. They're pro-choice. I mean, really, who's pro-abortion? I mean, yeah, let's kill fetuses, No, but we want to have the ability to have that choice, if that's the case. Anyway, so I had to bring that up, because it was a great quote I heard yesterday. But, yeah, and it kind of goes with this. It kind of, again, gets rid of that line of all or nothing. We really, again, it really reiterates the whole idea of all or nothing thinking. We're not there anymore. It's over. That whole all or nothing, or you do this and you cross the line. What line is there to cross? The only line that is there to cross is created by your ego and your false paradigm of who you think you are. That's the only line that's being crossed. So if you want to live in ego, and someone crosses that line that offends your ego, welcome back to the old paradigm. Let me see how much time we have on this particular segment. Oh, we got about 10 minutes, so I can move on a little bit, because I wanted to talk about what we were just talking about, the ego versus love, and kind of like how we handle ourselves in that way. We were just talking about the all or nothing mentality and the whole, crossing the line and whatnot. What is really important at this time is, and I'm reiterating what I said earlier, is compassion. Now, why is compassion important? Because you're going through the same thing. I'm going through it. You're going through it. And what I mean by it is the shift of consciousness. We talk about spiritual symptoms of awakening all the time. We talk about the anxiety that comes along with it. We talk about the lack of trust, like Yvonne was just talking about. So these are all happening to everybody else too. So it's very important to be compassionate, be very aware that if you're having a hard time sleeping, other people are having a hard time sleeping. If time is speeding up for you and you're getting anxious, you're not the only one. Time's speeding up for me and making me anxious. If you're having severe mood swings, you're not the only one. I am having severe mood swings. We are all going through this at the same time. Yeah, I mean, the whole idea that, there's something wrong with us is gone. Again, if you're not hurting anybody or yourself, there's nothing wrong with you. And we can even extend that to the extreme of the psychiatric field. I look at that book. I used to have a PDR, or whatever they called it. I forgot what it's called, DMX or DSM. And yes, I was going to be a psychologist at one time. But I look at that and I look at these disorders, you know, and it's ridiculous. I mean, even mania. Yes, mania. Some people are very disturbed, very. You know, they end up hurting themselves and end up hurting other people. That's understandable that that needs to be treated. But people who are hyper, mania is considered being hyper and grandiose, and then going up and down, up and down, up and down. At least that's what the DSM says. Again, the lines are blurred. If they're not hurting anybody, let them stay up for 3 days. I mean, so they'll sleep for 3 days after that. A hyperactive child, what is he hurting? Nothing. You know, oh, because he won't sit still in class, that's bad. Please, give me a break. We have got to get over this idea that, you know, people that don't fit that perfect social paradigm, there's something wrong with them. And that's one of the key factors of living in a new paradigm is acceptance of others' behavior. I was watching, here's a good example. I was watching when I go to sleep, I watch like old sitcoms. And I was watching an old episode of Malcolm in the Middle last night. And it was one where, you know, the little kid Dewey, the little one, they put him in the special ed class. And there's some kid in there that walks around riding a motorcycle all the time. He's like, rah, 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 rah. And he walks around with his arms up all the time. And I'm like, so? So, let him walk around. If that makes him feel comfortable, that's fine. He's not hurting anybody. Why does that make him, why does it make him different? If that's the way he handles his anxiety, there's nothing wrong with that. If he's handling his anxiety by putting his arms up and acting like he's on a motorcycle, fine. You know, if I handle my anxiety by, I don't know, painting my house every week, you know, big deal. Who am I hurting? Again, if it doesn't hurt the person or it's not hurting you or themselves, there really should be no judgment. There really should be. And I'm sorry, I won't use the word should. There can't be any judgment because that's their path. That's their path. That is the way they're dealing with the symptoms that they're having. I am sure all of us are having symptoms. All of us are having awakening symptoms. We're all having anxiety. We're all having maybe moments of insecurity, moments of, am I going crazy? By the way, there's an old joke that the ones that think that they're crazy are the ones that aren't crazy. It's the ones who don't think they're crazy that are crazy. So, that's something that I hope that's a little hope for you. But, again, it's a new paradigm. It's a new paradigm, and we really must learn to be acceptable of other people's personal behaviors and our own. If you're running around with your hands up in the air with a motorcycle, there's nothing wrong with you. That's the way you're dealing with your anxiety. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Watch. As everything and the dust begins to settle and we start being more comfortable in this new paradigm, a lot of this anxiety is going to go away. A lot of the insecurity is going to go away. And it's just, I know it is going to be and is already a wonderful way of living.